Let's do this for the last time.
Well, no, maybe not.
Oh, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the West County Wastewater Board of Directors meeting. I'm calling the December 17, 2025 West County Wastewater District Board meeting to order at 6:32. Madam Clerk, could you please take roll?
Director Alvarado.
Here.
Director King Meredith.
Here.
Director Weiner.
Here.
President Suddeth. President Ratila.
Here.
We have a quorum with 5 of 5 members present.
Thank you. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, or you may observe a moment of silence, seated or standing. Director Alvarado, please lead us.
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. General Counsel Nicole Witt will serve as our parliamentarian for tonight's meeting.
As a reminder to members of the public in attendance, the board has adopted rules governing the conduct of its public meetings. Public participation is welcome and encouraged. All public comments should be addressed to the board as a body, and the board asks that you please respect the 3-minute time limit per speaker. All persons attending board meetings shall observe the rules, any additional rules the board may establish, and the orders of the president with respect to the conduct of the meeting. No person may disrupt or disturb the board meeting. Disturbing, impeding, or otherwise preventing the orderly conduct of the board meeting could result in an individual's removal from the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Directors, before we begin with tonight's agenda, I ask that you be mindful of the board's rules of decorum, in particular to practice civility and decorum in discussions and debate. In order to preserve the order of this and every board meeting, directors will wait to speak until they are recognized and will restrict their comments to the motion or the agenda items under consideration. Thank you. Now is the time for public comment on items not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak for tonight's meeting?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on non-agenda items, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you very much. General Manager Andrew Clow, please lead us through the agenda.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The consent calendar consists of items 1 through 4 on the agenda. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak?
We have not. If anyone wishes to comment on consent calendar items 1 through 4, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Are there any questions or comments from the members of the board? I would like to ask for a motion and a second to approve the consent items 1 through 4.
I move the item, sir.
Madam Clerk?
I'm going to make sure I heard Suddeth and Director Weiner. Thank you. On the motion by Vice President Suddeth and seconded by Director Weiner to approve consent calendar items 1 through 4, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item 5, to receive a presentation on the Proposition 218 process, an overview of fiscal years 2027 to 2031 sewer service charge scenarios, and to provide direction on the same. Madam Clerk, have we received any public comments or requests to speak on this item?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on item 5, Proposition 218 and sewer service charges, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Good evening, President Ratila, members of the board. Justin Lovell, Deputy General Manager. Before I introduce Abney Allen, our financial analyst, to give our presentation, just want to give a brief introduction with our Prop 218 and sewer service charges. So this is we're at the end of our existing 5-year plan for sewer service charges. This is approximately 90% of our annual operating revenue. is coming from our sewer service charges, which are placed on the property tax rolls to the ratepayers. The majority of the ratepayers in our district are on residential, single-family home or multifamily homes. So we've, several months ago, the board adopted a contract with Bartle Wells and Associates. They are not here tonight. We wanted to save their board presentations for future. We're going to be coming to the board at least 2 more times before a rate plan is formally adopted. But we presented this rate plan, these scenarios, to the F&A committee, so the Finance Administration Committee. And so from the recommendations from the Finance Administration Committee, we wanted to present the 2 scenarios that Bartle Wells helped us develop. And I know there were some series of questions that we're trying to address during the presentation. And then we'll be able to have a further discussion once the presentation is over. So with that, I'd like to invite up Abney Allen, our financial analyst, to give a presentation about the rate scenarios, our financial forecast, and a little bit about the Prop 218 process.
Welcome, Abney. You said it was because the consultant and everything. Isn't it because she's going to do a better presentation?
Well, that is more likely what has happened. We wanted our staff to be able to present, so we do appreciate the ability of Abney, and we want her to get some face time with our board. She does a great job.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Just waiting for the presentation to.
Oh, no, she's not.
I don't know why she, my nose keep running. Thank you. You only got one left. Just keep it clean. Okay.
I like the sweater. I'm in leukemia, and I don't know what's happening now, but where's it?
All right. So, this is, is there a clicker? Not yet.
No batteries?
Here you go. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. As Justin explained, we did a contract with Bartle and Wells to do our 5-year rate study, as ours is coming to an end. So just the history of Bartle and Wells. They were founded in 1964, and they are experienced in doing cost of service rate studies and helping with Prop 218 and strategic financial planning. This rate study aligns with our strategic plan, and particularly our strategic plan of financial stability. In the plan, we directly We wanted to develop and implement new service charge rate and ensure wise and strategic use of our debt. We also want to boost our financial reserves for a cushion for our future and stabilize capital funding and increase our investments in infrastructure and support our redundancy, resiliency, risk reduction, and life cycle asset reinvestment. So, and that was the objective of our rate studies, financial sufficiency. We also want to be compliant with our Proposition 218 requirements, and we want to make sure that our rates are aligned with our district's objectives and customer focus. So the rate study reviewed our 10-year financial plans, our cost of service rate analysis, and they worked closely with us, finance as well as capital programs, for our operating goals and our capital, our CIP goals as well. Their process started with, we had a kickoff meeting, and then we had meetings for our demand, financial plan, cost allocation, and rate design. This is where we are in the process. After this, we will start our Proposition 218 process. Our 10-year, we normally have 10-year financial projections to make sure we can fund our operating capital costs and, like I said, maintain our adequate fund reserves and meet our debt service requirements. Okay. One of the scenarios that we're gonna introduce to you tonight involves debt servicing. And so we wanted to show what our current debt picture looked like at the moment, as well as these are the numbers that we have to look at when we're maintaining our debt service ratio. So we have our SRF loans that we got in four phases, and we have our 2021 wastewater revenue bonds. There's a note that the interest rate on our bonds were 4%, and the all-in rate is 2.61%. And what that all-in rate means is that is our effective interest rate. So the overall coupon on the bond was 4%, but depending on when the investment took place, the going interest rate might have been 1 or 2%. So we got a premium, which reduced our effective interest rate to 2.61%. So right now, well, as of this, as of the time we made this slide, we have about $162 million remaining to be paid on our debt. One of our biggest goals is to have adequate reserves. We do have current policies where we want to have 6 months of operating and maintenance operating reserve, 7% of our operating budget for emergency reserve, 6% of 6 months of capital program reserve, and $350,000 of equipment reserve. Just a little background on our Proposition 218 process that we must legally go through in order to adopt rate changes. And this is something that Bartow and Wells will help us do. The Proposition 218 was a voter-approved amendment. I can't see what year because the square is in the way, But basically what it says is that, number one, rates cannot exceed the cost of providing service, and we have to have a fair and equitable cost recovery. And that doesn't mean that we can't actually have a reserve, but we can't make a profit. The procedural requirements for rate increases, they include, we have to mail rate increases to all property owners and hold a public hearing at least 45 days after the mailing. And rates are subject to majority protest, meaning that if less than half of the voters or 51% of the voters don't protest, then we can go ahead with the rate increases. If that amount of ratepayers protest, then we may not be able to go through with it at that time. Basic overview on our sewer charge rates, as Justin said, they are 90% of our, they represent 90% of our operating revenue. They're our main source of revenue for this district. And the district collects sewage from about 34,000 residential customers and 900 commercial and industrial customers.
600, 900, that's good.
Our capital plan, thank you. Our objective with our sewer capital plan is to maintain and improve our wastewater infrastructure. That includes sewer system upgrades, repairs and replacements, and repairs and replacements that are needed to maintain safe and reliable operations. Right now, we project a 5-year capital spending plan, which is over $63 million. The major projects include our facilities program, our gravity sewer program, the plant process program, and it also includes the Clean and Green and it says treatment plant protection levy, but that is our North Richmond Collaborative Shoreline, formerly known as our Living Levee project. And that has a projection of $5 million in fiscal year 2029. And this just shows our capital improvement plan by year. Like I mentioned earlier, Bottle and Wells gave us 2 scenarios for rate increases. The first one is, they call it PAYGO, pay as you go. It means there will be no additional financing required, and that is scenario 1. Scenario 2, that involves a $50.7 million bond issuance in fiscal year 29, and lower increases for the first 5 years. Both scenarios meet and maintain the reserve target in all 5 years. The financial drivers for these are, we have aging infrastructure and capital needs, and that Water Wells develop financial projections for. We have our existing debt service, which is approximately $7 million per year. We have our average cost of annual pension liability repayment of $1.4 million. This also includes increased staffing costs to hire 3 additional full-time positions and temporary employees. It also assumes an operating cost inflation of 4%. So this pay-as-you-go scenario, if you can see at the top, it for the first 5 years, there is a 12% increase every year. And the next 5 years, that would be a 3.5% increase. The green line represents the projected revenues from the 12% increases, and the bars represent our total operating expenses in blue, our OPEB liability, which is our pension liability in orange, our debt in yellow, and our CIP goals in gray. And altogether on the aggregate, you can see that the green line, which is our revenue, covers everything through 2031. And that is with a 12% increase every year. The second scenario in which we would need a 50.7 million bond issuance, it includes 8% increases for the first 5 years, as well as 8% increases for the next 5 years. The green line represents the same thing, that is the revenue. And while you can see that it does cover most of it covers our operating and most of our CIP. These are the proposed rate increases for the pay-as-you-go summary. Right now, our current rate for a single family is $815. That's our fixed annual rate per unit. And for multifamily home and mobile home, it's $711. So with the 12% increase, next year will be $912 and eventually increase to $1,435 for single family and $1,258 for multifamily and mobile home. This monthly bill just breaks down how much the multifamily and single family household bills would increase every month. The rates are not paid monthly. However, some people like to see what the breakdown would be as far as their monthly cost of living. So you can see in fiscal year 27 for a single family, it would increase by $8 a month and then increase an average of $10 for the rest of the 5 years. So we'll start off at $76 and then end up at $119.58. What this chart right here shows is how our rates compare, with comparable agencies in our surrounding area. As you can see, our existing rates for West County wastewater is kind of on the lower side at 67.92. And with this pay-as-you-go, we will move up a little bit to $76, but we will still be middle of the pack. But what Bartle Wells wanted us to know that it's important about looking at this chart is that we aren't the only agency that will be going through this rate process and will be increasing the rate. So we probably would still end up around the lower end of the surrounding areas. This is the same chart that shows the increase, the yearly increase, but it's with scenario 2, which is the 8% increase to our ratepayers and the $50.7 million bond issuance. And it just shows it would start at $880 per year and then go up to $1,197 for a single family. And this shows the monthly bill impacts. I mean, you can see the impact is lower, but over the 10 years, it would be higher because the 5 outer years would continue at 8%. And this just shows where we are now versus where we would be with the second scenario, which is the same position, the same 2 positions before and after the rate increase. So this is just a comparison so you can, a comparison so you can see it all at once. Like I said, the scenario one, pay-as-you-go, is no additional financing. It includes 12% annual increases in years 1 through 5, and a projected annual inflationary increase of 3.5 in years 6 through 10. To highlight, there's a lower long-term cost and higher upfront impact. And like I said, it meets the balanced budget at the end of the 5 years. Same at the scenario 2, where we would issue the debt, there will be 8% annual increases in years 1 through 5, and also projected 8% annual increases in years 6 through 10. It's a lower short-term impact and higher long-term costs. And at the end of the 5 years, it does not meet the balanced budget because it doesn't cover our capital infrastructure needs. Just to note that we've been historically proactive at gradually increasing our annual rates, so we don't have to have a large lump sum increase. But we do need to increase rates to support the rising operating costs, debt service, pension repayments, and our capital needs. So the next steps after this is to authorize our Prop 218 notice. That will be late March, early February in 2026. And then in March of 2026, we will send out the Prop 218 notices. And that period will go from March 2026 to May 2026, with the public hearing scheduled for May 26, and then the rates will be effective July 1st, 2026. And that is all. Questions?
Thank you. Seeing that this went to the Finance and Administration Committee, Vice President Sudduth, would you like to provide any comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
And thank you also for addressing some of our concerns from the finance meeting. I'm going to ask Director King Meredith to speak before I do, as is my custom. Madam.
Thank you, Madam Chair of the Finance Committee, and thank you for your presentation. A few things that was explained, and we knew that it was going to be some concern, was how the increasing was going to take place over the next 10 years. And looking at our current, and to see the comparisons of other places and their increases, look like we're in the middle of actually doing our increases in order to provide our needs for increasing through the years. We thought that it was very acceptable how it was explained to us at our financial, and to see that for both scenarios between the pay-and-go and the other scenario that took place, that it was really in depth with that pay-to-go. I asked, I really asked, it was explained, but I had to get it through my head for the pay, the pay-and-go and currency, how it was going to be increasing by each year. So that was well accepted. The other was the hearing that we talked about, how the Proposition 218, for the owners must receive, they have to receive a written notice before they get the shock of seeing that, it's going to be in the middle, it's going to have this increase. And that it will be provided. this information will be provided to the public at this time to see how these rates will be going. Again, that was of a concern, knowing that you can't live without having wastewater and to have the operations. There's no way. So you need that. So one of the things for it to be really explained to us that was really thorough, it was very acceptable at this time. And to look at the scenario that we had talked about in depth, we really explained for our constituencies and for our residents to really understand really the need. So with that, I'm going to turn it on because we got, I don't want to keep going on and on, but I would like to turn it over to the chair at this point. But thank you so very much. Okay.
Thank you, Director King Meredith. A couple questions, and most of these I just want you to answer. You are Deputy General Manager, whoever would like to answer, so that we can have them for the record. Okay? Some of this wasn't in the presentation. A couple questions were, but I just want to have you for the record and for the board to know that we talked about this. Some of it is in the staff report, but people don't like to read. So I just want it on the record, okay? So when was the last rate study?
5 years ago, so fiscal year 2021. Yeah, fiscal year 2021.
2021. And when was our last rate increase?
I believe we increased this year, fiscal year 26. Okay.
I said you might need to answer some
I might need
questions.
to. I know Avni was not working here at the
I
time.
know.
And so this was a pop quiz for her. I don't need to
Yes.
put her on the spot.
No, that's why I said I might need you to answer some questions for her.
Yeah,
So-
so the rate increase in the current study is 5.5% for the first 5.5% increase for the first 4 years, and this most current year was a 3% increase.
Okay. I want the public to know these, so I want to get it on the record. And what kind of fee was that? Was it a different fee? Was it a progressive fee? Was it a flat fee?
Well, there's 3 user types that four within our customer base. So we have the single-family residential. They pay a flat fee. And so this is incorporating, because we cannot meter the wastewater that leaves our home, we've essentially have a proxy that an approximate amount of water is residential use is used as part of it. And so this is actually very common within sanitary districts and wastewater rate setting, especially for the sanitary districts within the Bay Area, is to set a flat fee. And so the single-family residents pay a flat fee. The multifamily homes also pay a flat fee, approximately 10% lower than the single-family residential. And this is based into assumptions of a multifamily home has fewer faucets, fewer points of using water versus a single-family home. Then we also have a commercial fee, and those are based on flow. So we have a commercial high strength and we have a commercial low strength. And the commercial high strength are essentially the restaurants. So with their wastewater, there's a lot more, kind of the food product type material in there that has a higher strength loading within our treatment plant. So there's a fee, they're paying a flow-based fee. So we're looking at, we get the water bills from East Bay Mud, and then we look at the amount of flow that they had the prior year to determine the rate, and there's a rate based on the flow. Same thing with commercial lower strength, which is equivalent to what a residential user has. And then we do have a handful of what we call the industrial customers, and those are, we have a few that are billed on the property tax roll, and then we have a couple other, a few industrial users that were essentially hand billed, and so they pay on a monthly basis. And industrial users have a combination of flow plus the loadings that go into the wastewater. So there's some pre-treatment requirements and testings that the industrial users who fall into that category have, which is the total suspended solids and the biological oxygen demand. So those are tests to determine the strength of the wastewater. And so what, it's additional energy that will go into the treatment of the wastewater, is to put it in the short term. So those are our classes, and so these are placed on the property tax roll. So it's one line item in a property tax bill, along with many other line items in addition to their property tax. And so the residential customers, depending on how they pay their property tax bill, they'll pay it in December or in April, and in April they'll pay half and half, or they could pay all. I say most people, if they had to pay, they'd probably pay it in 2 installments.
Yeah, I just had mine.
Yes.
I know you didn't expect a quiz today, but I think I found who wrote the staff report. And, another question. And what percentage of the connections of those, I know we have 35,000 connections approximately, what percentage of those are residential?
So out of the 35,000, about 96%, so it's approximately
About
34,000
so
are,
96%.
yeah, 96% are residential, and the remaining approximately 900 are the commercial and industrial users.
Perfect. And then where does that money go? So the sewer service charge, what does it fund?
So the sewer service charges is funding our operations. That's our number one priority, is that we need to fund the collection system. So getting the wastewater from its source, which is at whether the residence or commercial, once it leaves that building and goes into our sewer system, to transport it. So it's paying for the maintenance of our collection system, lift stations, because we live in a hilly environment, and so we have several areas where we need to pump our wastewater up and over grade. And then it's the treatment at the treatment plant to produce the clean water at the end. So coming in from the very beginning of the headworks and going to the effluent. Along that way, there are several other costs that are involved. We have a capital program, so the sewer rates also in this plan will also provide enough funding for our capital program through the sewer rates. We will, we pay for our staff costs and all the other associated employee costs, plus, materials and supplies. Our chemicals are a large chunk of our operating costs, as well as PG&E bills, which we know will be decreasing as part of the Clean and Green project, but we're still going to have some cost related to that. And then kind of those, in a nutshell, that covers everything. And then also some of the, that we mentioned in the presentation is about the reserves. We want to make sure that some of this rate is going to maintain a stable reserve, and we need to pay our debt service. So annually, we have a $7.4 million that we need to pay back the money that we borrowed. So that goes to that as well.
Perfect, thank you. I think I have 2 more questions, but with that, if we don't have that money to fund our operations and maintenance of the collection system and repair and rehab and replace our sewer pipes and equipment, because we are often asked as directors about those sewer pipes and the state of our equipment. What happens?
Well, we're working on tackling what has been deferred. So there's some maintenance items or some replacements that haven't happened that we're trying to catch ourselves back up so we can have a better functioning system. We've done a really good job with our staff and what we have, but we have plans to do more, and that's where that $63 million is. So if we do not continue investing in replacing our infrastructure, we're running risk of having additional sewer overflows. And if we have sewer overflows, so there's the public health issue of raw sewage around, people and residences. That's one thing we want to avoid. But the other thing is it's a liability for us.
Yeah.
So, if we're not maintaining our system and then tree roots are getting in and creating blockages, or components of our treatment plant are failing because we're not able to maintain them or replace aging components because they're at the end of the useful life, we run into regulatory issues because we are also, we're highly regulated industry. We are, it's really through the Clean Water Act, but it's through the State Water Resources Control Board that issues the National Pollution Elimination Discharge Permit, NPDES, and that regulates the quality of water that we need to produce at the end of the day. And if we are not meeting those requirements because we are not investing in our infrastructure, we're going to have greater liability and we're going to have greater cost in the future. So we want to make sure that we're maintaining our system and we're improving our system for the benefit of
And
everyone.
all of that leads to the public health issue.
And that leads to public health, right. So but the number one is that we are protecting public health.
Okay. And then the last thing is that when we were taking a look between the two scenarios, and it was really clear to us on the committee that there was a difference between the two scenarios in bringing the district to revenue sufficiency. What you said was the amount that we needed to make sure that at the end of the 5 years, we had what we needed to fund our operations during that, at the end of year 5. We've sufficiently funded our operations without going into greater debt. And there was a difference between those two scenarios, correct?
Correct. So the main difference, what ends up happening is, fortunately, the current rates as we are can cover our operating costs, but we need to invest in our infrastructure through our capital program. And if we do the debt scenario, so one of the issues we have is what we've talked about with the F&A committee is our ratings. So we need to make sure if we issue more debt, we have specific obligations we're going to have to meet. Otherwise, the debt's going to become more expensive. That means our interest rates will be more, and we'll have to pay back more over time. So looking at the pay-go scenario, at this, because we recently issued the $79 million in bonds, that to get us in a position where the sewer rates will cover our operating costs, plus our capital costs and our debt service coverage needs, will put us in a much better financial position. So we'll have healthy reserves, we'll have sufficient cash on hand. If we happen to, in the future, had a larger capital expense that we weren't planned for, or the regulatory agency comes back in 5 years from now and says, hey, there's these additional projects you must do, we will be in a position where we could pay for those much easier without greater rate increases, right? The pay-go scenario is going to, based on our projections now, will get us in a position where after year 5, we will be able to just have inflationary rate increases versus the debt coverage. The debt ratio is, yeah, we'll get a big amount of money for capital in a few years, but that's not going to put us on a pathway in year 6 to be able to do inflationary increases. We would still, in year 6 through 10 on that scenario, we would still have to increase our rates 8% a year.
Correct.
So collectively, we feel like if we look at it over a 10-year horizon, the pay-go scenario would put us as a district in a better financial position.
Thank you for that. And with that, that was my last question for you and for Madam Abney. And in the committee, we talked about this, and our feeling was the pay-as-you-go without, we did not believe that the district should take on more debt because of the amount of debt we took on with the Clean and Green project. And we believe that we should be seriously considering the pay-as-you-go. And yes, it is the amount of difference between the rate increase between the two scenarios was not so great to be burdensome. And it would put the district in a position after 5 years where we're not so heavily burdened in debt. So that was our recommendation from the committee. Thank you, sir. Es todo from us.
Mr. President, can I ask Justin a few questions for clarification before the rest of the board? Justin, you were talking about the two scenarios, and we talked about how much debt, et cetera. But either you or Michael, can you address from an agency operations standpoint those two different scenarios, having the big chunk of money up front and then we're paying the debt versus the pay as you go and having to accumulate enough to do a significant size project? And is there any impact in how we would operate?
Well, in the near term, either scenario would allow us to continue investing in our capital program. But over time, as if we're doing the pay-go scenario, that's going to create more revenue. It's going to create more stability in the capital program. And that's the one thing that we've had to slow down a little bit on some of the other clean and green projects these last couple of years. And so this pay-go plan will get us in a position where when staff is ready to move forward, when they're ready to move projects, and we'll have the funding available for them. So they won't, that ties along with our strategic plan where the board has directed that we want to have a, steady stream of be able to fund our capital program, and the pay-go is really going to get us there.
Yeah, and so, for example, the clean and green, we issued the bonds and took on a significant amount of debt, but had all of that money all at once available to us, which essentially jump-started the capital program, and we were able to accomplish an awful lot of infrastructure in a shorter period of time, which also put us in good position getting out of the sludge farming business and trying to work on our protection, our coastal protection. But the other method is the pay-go, as Justin said. In the long term, it's more stable, it's less costly, and what we need to do with the capital program then is just we'll have stability and consistency, but also we can create a certain amount of reserves, in it for capital projects like that we aren't immediately using those funds, but we will, and can strategically accumulate those funds for what we foresee as in year 3 or 4, or whatever it might be, a significant project that would be a lot more than we would bring in those particular years. So it's just a different way of how we would manage it, but we could do it with either one. But the recommendation, though, it seems to be, is the one that will be more cost effective. I have a couple more if you're okay. The 3 FTE that were up there, can you explain how that's a placeholder for purposes of showing what its impact would be on the rates?
Yeah, so as we are, looking at the operations and, over the next several years, there are some possibilities where we may need additional FTE count, whether it's at the treatment plant, whether it's through any other different divisions. And so we wanted to put that in there as a placeholder, so we have a dollar amount within our rate plan to be able to fund those FTEs, but we don't know which ones they are specifically, because we are going to be going through a process to determine what the needs are. And any time that we would be adding an additional FTE, that would be going to the board if it had it was a change in a job description, or adding job description, or creating a new salary schedule. All of those changes would be going to the board before anything would be implemented. This adding 3 FTEs within this plan is giving us the flexibility to adjust the operational needs as they come up, as we foresee them, the needs changing over the next couple of years.
So that number, like we said, is a placeholder. You can see how we could have money in operations and have money in capital, what it would look like if we had this particular rate increase scenario, which would obviously change if you didn't do 12% but did 20% or did something different. But you could see what the impact would be if we added additional positions to that number. We do anticipate a need in a couple of areas, and we that need's going to be based, how many we really think we want to come to the board and request, and what they would be for is really going to be dependent upon, a prudent increase, how much is enough and how much is too much to ask of the ratepayers right now? And do we change scope a little bit? Do we delay some projects so that we could do that? But some of the complexity of the equipment that we've taken on as part of the Clean and Green project is a lot different and requires an awful lot of preventative maintenance. And what we will be achieving is the sustainability that you were talking about, but sustainability at a higher level of service, in that we'd be having this new equipment, we would maintain it properly. The digesters that we took offline, for example, they had life expectancy in them for another decade or so, had they been cleaned regularly, had they been inspected, had they been coated. Yeah, there was more life. Structurally, they would have still been all right, and we wouldn't have had the cracking and the spalling. The same with the SED basins, which are going to cost us a lot. The investment in capital maintenance, more than what our crews could do in a timely manner, would have made those less costly as well. And that's what we're trying to catch up with and then get to a point where we can be sustainable. I have two more questions for him that I hope would help inform the board. And one is, do we know which of the other cities will be changing their rates in the near future so that we could see what that comparison would look like?
We don't know specifically. We know some of our local other sanitary districts are going through the process or will in the near future. They also have big capital needs. There's a lot of treatment plants need to start removing nutrients over the next several years, and those are going to be very expensive projects. Unfortunately, we are in a position where we've essentially, from a project we did with the SRF loans nearly 10 years ago, that we are already removing the nutrients and meeting those requirements from the NPDES permit. So we know this historically that all the other sanitary districts and other cities that have sewer rates, they are also going to be increasing. We just don't know at what level. Some are going to be significant, probably much higher than our 12%, but we just don't know at this point.
And the last one is only if the board would like a little bit more clarification and discussion on the review, the Prop 218 protest vote process. That can be a little confusing as how that actually works. If everybody's really good with it, that's fine. If you would like to hear Justin maybe cover that quickly again, sure you can.
Yeah, I can just briefly go about that, and I know I put it in the staff report, let's mention a new law in there. So essentially, the Prop 218 is we have to provide a written notice at least 45 days before a public hearing for the board to set the rates for the next 5-year rate plan. And so we would be coming back to the board in a couple months for the board to formally adopt what the rate plan we want to move forward with and authorize staff to issue those Prop 218 notices before we do the public hearing. And so Prop 218 allows for the ratepayers to submit written protest notices. There is also another bill that is recently, we just mentioned in the staff report, and we can get into more on that later. It's essentially an administrative exhaustion procedure that we can add as part of the Prop 218 notice, just to reduce any liability of somebody coming back saying not agreeing with the rates if they were already adopted after the fact. So I won't go into too much detail now. I don't know if General Counsel would want to say anything, but there is it's a recently adopted state law that we can get into more detail when we get into the kind of the Prop 218 notice.
I think the only thing I'd add on top of what the Deputy General Manager mentioned is that with the new administrative exhaustion procedures, it offers a significant protection to the district from those sort of after the fact Monday morning quarterbacking objections to our rate increases, but it does require us to add sort of a little bit more time in the process to make sure that we kind of overlay that. These processes sort of sit on top of each other and move in parallel.
Thank you. As somebody that lives in the district, Prop 218, I appreciate it. So moving on, Director Wiener, comments?
I submitted some questions, and most of them were answered. The 12% is based on a lot of assumptions. Could it be 11% instead of 13%? Could it be, and still, I mean, if we changed a few of the assumptions, slowed our capital improvements a little bit, could we reduce it to 11%? Or, I mean, is there flexibility with this plan, looking at the plan and looking at the detail to adjust it and still meet all the goals set for the,
So, I mean, my recommendation would be, keep it at the 12% because we feel like that's going to get us what we're calling revenue sufficiency. But what we could always do in a future year is say a year from now, we're going through year 2 of the rate plan and the board has adopted 12%. We can go back and look at our assumptions and say, oh, some of our costs are lower. So there's an opportunity for the board in the future years within the rate plan to adopt a lower percentage. But that also means over time, we're going to be receiving less revenue. So it's an option that we could do, but necessarily don't want to lock it in stone. Whatever the board adopts in the rate plan now that's the ceiling that the board could adopt. But the board could always come in a future year, because we are coming back year after year to put the rate plan on the property tax rolls. And so there's an opportunity to review our financial forecast. And if there's an opportunity to have a slightly lower increase, we could do that at that time.
And another part of that, oops, and another part of that, and if we want to explain a little bit more, or Michael, you could help address it, is the most impact it will have is we're making certain that there's enough funding in there to maintain all of our staff at the FTE that are currently authorized, with the possibility of adding a few more to address needs that will come up. Raising or lowering it from 10, 14, or doing something different is going to impact the capital program and how much we can do and how fast we can do it. So it would be a project that maybe we do in year 3, or a big project we wanted to try to do in year 4 wouldn't happen until year 6 or something like that. And so that's what its impact would be. And what we've identified with this is how much capital do we really need to do? How much do we anticipate? How much is required? And what do those big project needs? And a couple of them, still aren't really fully funded out there. The whole Terra Hills lift station complex area, is a long-term problem we have, for example, that these aren't directly addressing all of the needs there, but it is addressing most of the needs that we see on force mains and lift station upgrades and other improvements at the plant. And is there anything you wanted to add to that, Michael or Angela, regarding the capital program, or that's really what its main impact would be?
well, my experience on the last 218 was that our ratepayers trust us. They're not questioning us. They're not complaining. We don't get a lot of, I don't get a lot of feedback that our rates are high. I don't get a lot of people complaining at all about our service. So I think the only people that look out for them is us. They're not going to be showing up in droves for the 218 protest. I think we had 2 people show up and ask for something that legally we couldn't do. So, or actually, it was more physically we couldn't do. So, yeah, I think, whatever we choose, I think we'll be fine. But I'm just throwing out there that the board is the only representative of the ratepayers that will show up for the 218. It's up to us to make sure that our rates are not onerous and that everybody can, pay them. Although, I mean, to be honest, our tax, the way we set our tax up, it's like, we'll get the money whether people can pay it or not. I don't want to release that as a secret. I hope the press isn't here, but that's the way it's kind of set up. So again, it's up to us to make sure that the rates are sufficient for them, because we're the only ones looking out for them. So, and they trust us, which is the other thing to think of.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on, Director King Meredith, did you have anything you wanted to add before? Did you have it to the
Not
conversation?
right now, only when it's time to make the motion.
Okay. Director Alvarado.
No, just want to thank staff and the committee for the information that was given today. It was very clear, and I had lots of questions, but they were all answered, so thank you. And thank you to the FA committee for your work on this. It was much appreciated. Thank you.
Vice President Sudduth, anything you want to add before?
Until you're ready for your motion, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I did have a couple of questions. I just needed some clarification. I know that we have, 249 miles of piping, 7 lift stations. The one in Terra Hills, and being on the IOE committee, I know that we've talked about upgrading our security because theft is rampant in our city. So I think this is going to help everything. So we don't need to vote on this. We just need this. I'd like to hear what direction you'd like to.
Yeah, so it would be helpful on the staff side is if there's a preferred scenario, what direction, what scenario you would like. So with that, if we have a preferred scenario, we can start preparing the Prop 218 notices and making sure the legal language is there and correct. So then we would be able to come back to the board in the end of February, beginning of March for formal adoption and authorization to move forward with the Prop 218 process.
That sounds good. Everybody in agreement?
So, do we have to take a formal vote or just?
No, we
No,
just
sir.
wanted to give them direction
Yeah.
to move forward with scenario 1 on the pay-as-you-go.
Right.
So we know that the committee, two of our members are for the
Pay-as-you-go.
PAYGO,
Yeah.
and I also support PAYGO.
Okay, it looks like it's unanimous.
Well, right, without a vote. And
Yeah.
but what we got is we heard the discussion, and we've heard the discussions in finance, and we made a presentation of these particular scenarios. And if we'd had a lot more questions or things we had to come back and provide more information, then that's where we would be. But I think we have enough direction to put together a proposal for the board in the rate study documents and then bring that to the board and say, based on what we understood from you and whatever follow-ups or other information we might have at that time, and then make the presentations to the board, and then at that point request that you approve it.
That would be great.
Sounds good. I do have a question. I did ask our general manager, who's the biggest ratepayer in our district? I mean, rate user?
I'd have to go back and
Would it
look
be
at
like a
specifically at, I mean, like
FedEx?
rate use, you mean like as in the use?
Aaron?
Yes, is it
Wi-
like
within-
FedEx or
Within
UPS?
our district,
our
like the
biggest
amount of water they use? On the top 10, I have to look off the top of my head, it's, East Bay Mud, because they have 2 facilities,
biggest one?
is where, because they have the water treatment facility in El Sobrante, and they was considered an industrial user. So if we're looking at quantity of water produced, East Bay Mud is one of our largest. Actually, we get quite a bit of our sewer rate revenue from East Bay Mud.
That's the one about
When we come back,
We can get more
we'll,
detail on
like,
that.
who's our
Our top 10,
largest
yeah,
commercial
yeah.
customers
Yeah.
by impact, meaning what, the strength, et cetera, by revenue and by volume? It'd be interesting. We could certainly get those, just none of us can do it off the top of our head here. So.
Correct, yeah.
Appreciate
Be
that.
great.
Yep, we can provide that.
Can I ask an unrelated question? Is there a reason we got polar bears running around in the conference room?
You mean, you feeling it's a little cold in here? We'll adjust temperature for you.
Little nippy, little nippy.
want to thank you, 'cause I thought it was me.
I'm tempted to put on this coat right now. It is so cold. You're cold too, right? Right?
We
Right?
can,
I
we'll
know
adjust that.
everyone else wanted to say it, so I said it for you. I know.
Okay, we hear you. Okay, well,
I said it for him.
all right. Thank you.
Let's lower our air conditioning bill.
All right, moving on.
Thank you, sir. I
Well,
know I broke protocol, but that was, whew,
we want to keep you awake.
I couldn't even think. I couldn't think. I stopped writing. My hands are like.
And I think Lakima just made an adjustment for us there. I'm a
Feel
little
like
chilly.
this. Trying to get some friction
Wanna
going.
Smack your gown. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item 6, to review proposed amendments to the project stabilization labor agreement and consider action on one of the following. A, amending the project stabilization labor agreement and extending the term for an additional 5 years beginning January 1st, 2026. Or B, keeping the existing project stabilization labor agreement with no changes, which will automatically renew for an additional 5-year term beginning January 1st, 2026. Madam Clerk, have we received any public comments or requests to speak on this item?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on this item 6, Project Stabilization Labor Agreement, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you. And again, we will hear from Deputy Director Justin Lovell, as well as our representative here from the trades.
Hey, good evening. Justin Lovell, Deputy General Manager. So we've been to the board and to the Finance and Administration Committee several times over the last about 8 months to discuss any potential amendments to the Project Stabilization Labor Agreement. So it is just to remind everybody where we're at. This was originally adopted about 5 years ago for an initial 5-year term, and that initial 5-year term is ending on December 31st of 2025, so just in a couple weeks. So the Project Stabilization Labor Agreement really is, there's a few main goals with this, is to promote efficiency of the construction projects in West County wastewater through the use of skilled labor. 2, avoiding labor disputes that could delay completion of West County wastewater projects and provide a peaceful settlement of labor disputes and grievances without strikes. So those are really the core principles of why we have this type of agreement. So we've, with our PSLA, the term is that for any project that's $1 million or over, that also includes an engineer's estimate as $1 million, would be subject to the PSLA. So so as we go out to bid with our construction projects that meet this threshold, the contractors who do submit a bid for the project, they are subject to be bound by the conditions of the PSLA. We have had approximately 11 projects over the last 5 years that met the PSLA threshold. We have received bids for our projects. Our projects have been completed with skilled labor, and we have had no issues related to, work stoppages or strikes related to any of the projects that fell under the PSLA. And so as we've had discussions with the board and with the Finance Administration Committee, we worked very closely with the building, Contra Costa County Building Trades, and I just recognize that Mr. Tim Sobrani is here, and I'll invite him up in just a minute to provide any comments. And so we've been working closely with Mr. Sobrani and looking at any potential amendments. So we're not really making a huge number of recommended changes. Some of the items that we're recommending to change are cleanup, essentially. They're just making some clarifications on some of the items, but really based on discussion with the Finance Administration Committee, let's say one of the largest changes that we're making is we want to improve the communication that happens between us and the trades and getting that information back to the board, to the Finance and Administration Committee. So we've added some additional provisions about having further discussions and meetings with kind of from West County wastewater side, with the trades about any covered work, to talk about the community benefits initiatives that are within an article within the PSLA, and then to have additional discussions and create kind of plans and ideas about local hire initiatives, any joint outreach efforts they may have, and so we can come back to the board on a quarterly basis, if we've had a meeting in the previous quarter, to report back on any of those discussions and those kind of those outreach efforts. And so what I think what we'll do is really just creating a better partnership, so more information is getting shared across both ends between West County wastewater and on the trades. And we've just have just adding some sections related to reporting on a quarterly basis on any progress towards the community benefit initiatives. We're actually recommending to add a section that the Trades Council will collaborate with its workforce partner, which we had a presentation with the Construction Trades Workforce Initiative at the Finance and Administration Committee, and they discussed some of the work that they're doing to provide outreach to let people know about how to get into the trades and provide those pathways. And so we've incorporated feedback from the Finance and Administration Committee within the draft amendment. And so with that, I just want to turn it over to Mr. Sobrani if he has a few words that he wants to say to the board, and then the board, you can have a discussion on the items, and we're happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Mr. President, honorable directors and staff. Tim Sobrani, Contra Costa Building Construction Trades Council. Pleasure to be here before you tonight, and I just want to thank staff and the board for all the engagement in recent months. I'm excited that we're at this point. We're proud of the work that we've been able to do during the span of the agreement, and I think, as Justin said, 11 projects successfully constructed with skilled and trained workforce, on time, on budget. And again, when you think about the public health needs as it relates to the wastewater district, making sure these projects are done properly with the right certified labor is really important. But I do believe that we've been able, and based on recent conversations, to make the amended agreement even stronger to address some of the different issues and concerns that have been raised, particularly around, and while we support either option that's before you tonight, we do think the amended recommendation reflects the conversations that we've had, particularly around good faith efforts, the introduction of our nonprofit partner, the Construction Trades Workforce Initiative, that's going to specifically work with the district, with contractors, with the community, really beefing up, as your Deputy General Manager said, our communication, our engagement, and our good faith effort to bring more people into the trades and to bring more local people onto projects here within the district. So we are excited for what the future has in store, putting local residents to work to the extent feasible on these projects, and most importantly, getting you quality construction with the best labor that's out there, and with middle-class jobs, with pensions and benefits, which I think is really important, especially in this time, the work that we do in terms of the apprentices and everything else, bringing people in, so I think it's really a value reflection of the district that you're supporting through the work that you do in terms of the capital projects, that you're putting people to work that are properly paid. And one of the things that we talk about is, you have certain compliance standards. And, if when you have a labor agreement, a PSLA, you don't just have a couple staff members watching it. You have 35,000 members of a building trades council that are making sure that things are done properly, just in terms of, hours and wages and benefits and everything else. So from a compliance standpoint, it also helps just to make sure that everything is done properly. So I will be here for the remainder of the conversation, happy to answer any questions at any point if called upon by the president. But thank you for your time, thank you for your engagement, and we look forward to continuing and expanding and strengthening our partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to say before I pass it over that I've been a union member since the 70s. I was in the Paper Workers Union and the Millwrights Union for quite some time. So, and I was in the bargaining team, and we did work on PLA. So I took the liberty of going back and looking at some of the videos from our ladies here at the Finance Committee, and I was impressed with your negotiating and your requests. I know it was a compromise, and I think it's a great compromise. So saying that, Vice President Sudduth, as chairs of Finance and Administration Committee, would you like to provide any comments?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you, Mrs. Sobrani. We had some robust and spirited conversations, but they were all done in good order and in good spirit. And as is my usual method, I'm going to ask Director King Meredith if she would like to speak to her comments first before I speak to mine. Madam?
Thank you, Madam Chair of the F and Administration Committee, and thank you, Tim. Just looking over what we had requested and recommended for you to, and staff to look into our concerns at this time. We see that you have amended, and staff has amended what we have requested. At this point, I am very happy to see that this turnaround. I mean, I know it took us a few months, but to get to the point that we really did at this last committee meeting. So just looking over the amendments that we have in place at this point, I'm satisfied with it. And knowing my chair, that she will probably add to, but as well, appreciative of what the work has gone into bringing this forward to the full board at this point. And not to delay any further, I'm going to send it back to her to expound, to present any other concerns, if it may be. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. So just to give the board just a quick summary of what we discussed and what we agreed upon, and you'll see it reflected in, as Mr. Sabrante and our Deputy General Manager mentioned, and you'll see it in the staff report, but I just want to say it for the record, for those who rather not or will not read it in the staff report. Some of the concerns that we had was that, people don't know what they don't know. They don't know how to, get into these jobs, and they don't know how to access the jobs. We don't expect the building trades, the contractors or subcontractors to go to someone's house and get them out of the bed and throw a job at them, but we do want the opportunity to be presented. So the good faith effort is just that. It's just a good faith effort. But it's also, the building trades is going one step further with their partner, their labor partner, in offering these opportunities and going. They are actually doing some of this work. It's just not visible to the district and to the board. And that's the communication gap that the Deputy General Manager spoke of. And so that's one of the ways that we talked about taking care of that is these quarterly meetings. And these review meetings will be either called by the district or the council, and it'll discuss the status of the PSLA, and it'll evaluate these efforts. It'll talk about, what the local hire provisions are and what those outreach effort looks like, either, the districts or the councils or the contractors, and what it looks like as a whole. And then the staff will bring it back to the Finance and Administration Committee, and Mr. Brente has agreed to come to those meetings and bring it back to the board on a quarterly basis, so we don't get a year in, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in, and see a bunch of zeros, and we're shell-shocked that there's no good faith effort. So that communication will be ongoing. And we'll find out, of course, it'll be an arrears, so it's a quarter before, and we'll find out how that happened, and then we can strategize better on, okay, what can we do better? And there was something that Mr. Sabranti said that we really liked, and it was when a contract is awarded, that there will be a meet and confer with the building trades and CTWI and/or CTWI, which is their training, a nonprofit partner, to develop a plan to meet the local hire provisions. That was really important to us to hear, so that, because if you don't have a plan, then you're just not gonna meet it. It's just gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, serendipitously. So that was added in here, and it's just best efforts, and having that in here was, if you'll see it in your packet, you'll read it in here about the council agrees to collaborate with its workforce partner, the Construction Trades Workforce Initiative, to meet with contractors, employers, and develop strategies to meet the community benefits initiatives identified in Article 11. So that was one of the things we really wanted to see. And that's all we were asking for. We're not asking for any numbers. We're not asking for any guarantees. We just want to know that there's actually some effort. So I think that was really good. The reporting, again, is listed in Article 11.5 reporting, but it's been renumbered, of course, to 11.6. But I wanted to bring to your attention, General Manager, General Counsel, I saw a typo. So I just want to say it before we move this forward, if we move it forward. But on page 69 is section 3, the new Article 5.4, line 10. It is the third line from the bottom. Says district staff will present to the Finance Administration Committee. There's two, 2D. Do you see it? Okay. So there's a joint outreach and local area residents recruitment effort that will occur between the council and WCW staff, which is great because the council has quite a large reach and we can benefit from that. Again, local area residents, we had a really good conversation about this. It could be someone who graduated from a local school and who may not live in the area. They still have a connection to the area. So we weren't saying that they have to live, right here, but they have a connection here. Or they could have been trained in a program in the area. And they can still have a connection here, but we need it documented so we can see that. Or you could have done all of the outreach possible and nada came out of it. Just document it so we can see that. And we weren't getting it, so that communication, that documentation will occur in the future, and we'll have a chance to look at that on a quarterly basis going forward. Covered work has been clarified, and just a couple of other, as the Deputy General Manager said it, cleanup items. And Director King Meredith and I have looked at this, and we are satisfied that this partnership is strengthened just by these few small changes, and the commitment to the communication and the commitment to the outreach. I think with those two things, we are satisfied that this partnership will be stronger, and the community will benefit, will positively benefit from this enhanced version of the PS. I always call it PLSA, but PSLA. And with that, sir, I turn it back over to you until you are ready for me to say what I need to say at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, Director Weiner.
Mr. President and fellow board members, as I stated in the last meeting, my only requirement for supporting an amended PSLA was that the changes were not detrimental to union labor or onerous to the Trade Council. The amended PSLA is not detrimental to union labor and not onerous to the Trade Council. I will vote yes on the amended.
Thank you. Very nice. Director King Meredith, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, not at this time, only when it comes to.
Thank you. Director Alvarado?
Very happy to see these amended changes. And I think that our district is going to benefit because of it. So I thank the F&A committee, staff, and Tim Sabrani for making it happen. Thank you.
It's not often that you can come to a compromise where both sides are at least happy or content. So I want to thank both of you and staff for coming to this agreement. And so would you like to do the honor?
I very much would like to. Thank you. We worked really hard on this, so I want to, let me quote exactly what I want to say. Give me 1 second. And I want to give.
Thank you, Justin.
First, yes, thank you, Deputy General Manager and staff and General Manager, Mr. Sabrante, and of course, General Counsel. She had to do a lot of wordsmithing because of me. And so I would like to move that the board amend the project stabilization labor agreement and extend the term for an additional 5 years beginning January 1, 2026, which is option 6A on your agenda.
Yes. And I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second.
And I'll third it. No, I'm just kidding.
Madam Clerk?
On the motion by Vice President Sedek and seconded by Director Cleaner, to amend project stabilization agreement and extend the term for an additional 5 years, beginning January 1, 2026. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes 5-0.
Very good.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you.
And
I forgot to say thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Angela.
I stopped myself from interrupting you 3 times because that's what I was going to say. Well, next on the agenda is regular calendar item 7, to approve cancellation of the regular board meeting scheduled for January 14th, 2026, and schedule a special meeting for January 21st, 2026. Madam Clerk, have we received any public comments or requests to speak on this item?
If anyone wishes to comment on item 7, January 2026 board meeting scheduling, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
All right. Are there any, any comments or questions from the members of the board?
No, but I want to move the item.
Seeing none, move the item?
The item.
Second, anybody?
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk?
On the motion by Vice President Sedek, seconded by Director Meredith, to approve item, regular calendar item 7. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item 8, to nominate a president and vice president of the Board of Directors. Have we received any public comments or requests to speak on this item?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on item 8, board reorganization, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
General Counsel, please provide an overview of the election process.
Thank you. Directors, Section 3.7 of the Board of Directors Policies and Procedures provides that the election of the board president and vice president takes place at the second regular meeting in December. The election of the president and vice president will be the last item on the agenda. The newly elected president and vice president will assume their duties upon election. A director may be nominated by another director or may be self-nominated. Once all nominations are closed, the board will vote on each nominee. Directors may only vote for one of the nominees. A nominee is elected upon receiving 3 or more votes. If no one receives 3 or more votes, nominees receiving no votes will be eliminated from the first round of voting, and voting rounds will continue until a nominee receives 3 or more votes. I'm happy to respond to any questions, and if there are none, then I would suggest that the board president open the nominations.
Seeing no questions, I will now open up nominations for president. Directors, are there any?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr. President and fellow board members, as the board has created an undemocratic process where I am unable to represent my district ratepayers as an officer of the board, I will not be participating in this election and question the legitimacy of any officer you elect. I will be abstaining from participating.
Thank you. So again, I will now open it up for nominations for president. Directors, are there any nominations for president?
President, yes, Mr. President, I would like to nominate standing Vice President Director Cheryl Sutter for president.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second that nomination.
Madam Clerk?
If I could, Vice President Suddeth, do you accept the nomination?
She's smiling. I don't see.
Yes.
And are there any other nominations?
Are there any nominations for vice president?
Oh, no, for president, we're still, yeah,
President?
if there's
No.
any other nominations
Well,
for president.
Are there any other nominations for president?
Annie, will you stab me?
I will stab you.
Oh, she said she gonna stab me if us.
Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk?
I tried.
You close the nomination. Confirming you're closing the nomination.
I am. I'm closing the nominations.
All right. I just lost access to my screen.
I just lost mine.
So on the motion by Director King Meredith and seconded by Director Alvarado to elect Vice President Suddeth as President of the Board of Directors for a one-year term until a successor is elected. Director Alvarado,
Yes.
Director King Meredith,
Yes,
Director Weiner has stated he abstains. Vice President Suddeth,
What, am I voting for myself?
You're voting for yourself.
Okay, yes.
and President Rentila.
Yes.
The motion passes 4-0
With one abstention.
with one abstention by Director Weiner.
So I guess we move on to nominations for vice president.
okay, thank you.
Are there any nominations for vice president?
Vice President?
I-
Yes, President, right now, we're speaking, just correct me, I'm speaking to you, sir, or I'm speaking to the president?
Well,
If I could, upon election, the new board president is.
That's who I'm speaking to
President
at this.
Suddeth.
So you want me to do it?
Just hand
Yeah.
over the, yeah,
Okay, well,
that's
it's all yours. The floor is
Yeah,
yours.
that's what I'm saying, so I'm,
You need a gavel? Well, you've got your own gavel, too.
I got
Right.
my own gavel.
Wow.
All right.
want to be.
Okay, so you talk to me.
Right, so
Okay.
Madam President?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to nominate Director Alvarado.
Okay. 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, for Vice President.
All right, ma'am. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Are there, okay. Director Alvarado, do you accept this nomination?
I sure do.
Wonderful. Are there any other nominations?
Let's close.
Seeing no other nominations, the nominations for vice president is closed. Ma'am, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Sure, on the motion made by Director King Meredith and seconded by Director Rentila to elect Director Alvarado as Vice President of the Board of Directors for a one-year term or until a successor is elected. Director Alvarado?
Yes.
Director King Meredith?
Yes.
Director Rentila?
Yes.
Director Weiner abstains. And President Sutton? That motion passes 4-0 with one abstention by Director Weiner.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, General Manager, will you please continue with the rest of the agenda?
Yes, I will, Madam President. Next on the agenda is other business, item 9, reports of staff, general manager, and general counsel, which includes the check register reports for June 2025 through November 2025, and the 2025 year in review. Madam Clerk, have we received a written comments or request to speak on this item?
We have not. If anyone wishes to comment on item 9, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you. First, staff is available to answer any questions the board may have regarding the check register reports. Seeing none, we'll move
have one
on.
down
Oh,
here.
wait, I see a finger that the president might want to.
You got church finger going down here. Go ahead, sir.
Will we be spending $250,000 per year on computer support from Apex going forward for the next foreseeable future?
Here he comes.
Good evening again. That is approximately what our, I have to go back and look at the exact contract value.
Just took the 6 months.
So we're roughly $15,000 to $16,000 a month, so it's less than $250,000, so that's closer to $170,000, $175,000 a year. Plus, we have some special projects, so it all depends on what
I was
our
just
needs
looking
are.
at 6 months and doubled it.
Yeah, so it's depending on
But I mean,
what the needs
that's
are.
an ongoing cost.
It's an ongoing cost. It's, they are providing our IT services and network monitoring, cybersecurity monitoring. So they do a host and suite of services for us on the IT front. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That's it?
Justin.
Any other questions? Okay, sir, continue.
Okay, in just a moment, we'll have Kate come up here and talk about a little bit of the year in review at the request of the past president, Mr. Rentila. And we'll see how that goes. We'll come back with a more comprehensive review of community engagement and activities such as that. But in taking a look at this and going through it, Mr. Past President, I think that, I'm not saying that just so I can say pass, but I wish I call you. But we're going to look at bringing something like this in a different format with a little bit different information made on a quarterly basis to the board. Just with some numbers, how much water we recycled, how many loans we, or, pipes program, things, et cetera. So I'm stumbling around on the numbers, but anyway, we'll look into that. And that came at the suggestion of Mr. Rentila. So anyway, Kate, why don't you give us a little year in review?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. It's nice to be here. It's nice to see all of you. I don't want to forget that when we're done here, let's get a picture of our board. So I don't want to forget that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, we really excited to put this presentation together for you. It is our 2025 West County Wastewater Year in Review. And so we've got some great pictures here and a little story to tell. So just kind of taking you back to 2025 at the beginning of the year in January. Well, West County Wastewater Board, all of you, kicked off the year by approving design plans for construction projects, including Carriage Hills, Diavola, La Honda, and Tara Hills. So it's a great way to start off the year. Some amazing projects that we've been working on all year. Also in January, West County Wastewater kicked off our tours, and we hosted the City of American Canyon. Their public works staff had come out. Our operators and plant staff gave them a great tour. They were interested in our plant, the Clean and Green project, and of course, we showed them the living levee progress. Also, we welcomed the Earth team from a city, or the Richmond High School. So mostly juniors and seniors came out. They were great. We loved having them. You can see them in the pictures there. Also in finance, our finance division has been so busy this year. They received a clean audit for fiscal year 24 with the highest opinion, which of course we have the highest opinion of our finance division anyway. Ba-dum-bum. In February, West County Wastewater partnered with Diamond Strategies. Thanks to all of you for approving that contract. They worked with our staff to create a RISE action plan. So our RISE committee and progress in RISE has been amazing this year. We'll talk about it throughout the presentation. Also in February, West County Wastewater staff and board members came together, as we always do, to celebrate Black History Month, but this year we had an event around it. So that was a wonderful event. Staff was really involved in that, made a greater celebration out of it. You can also see our women in waste, or our women here at West County Wastewater celebrating Women's History Month. That was the next month in March, but our pictures are there. West County Wastewater Board of Directors approved a 5-year strategic plan. Remember all that work that you've done over 2025, along with leadership and staff. We have it now, so our plan is in place. Also, some of the other things that we did, EV charging stations. Well, they were, the pilot program came online. You approved a policy for that. Now we're offering charging stations right here at Hilltop to the public and also to our staff. And then our HR team. So safety and security has always been a priority here at West County, but especially this year, we've really dug in. We're doing some new things. HR, in fact, updated 6 safety programs. So they've done a wonderful job. We have a safety committee that meets regularly. I believe it's the first Monday of every month. In February, also, West County Wastewater's finance team, well, they came around and educated staff on their new general ledger code system. So this was a big lift from our finance division. They did a great job of rotating around, meeting with all of the divisions, making sure all of the staff understood how the new GL code system came to be, why it was important. It really makes us more efficient. So that was a great lift on their part. And just some other pictures, hopefully you can see there, we kind of pushed those in so you could see all the certificates, continued education that our staff is working on, and just working together, doing all kinds of great work. In March, West County Wastewater became the newest addition to the Contra Costa County Local Hazard Mitigation Plan. So, of course, you've heard a lot about this. It came out of our Infrastructure and Planning Department, particularly our Planning and Support Division. In particular, Judy Chen, who's the manager of that division. She did a great job working with the county, presented to you quite a few times, and did a lot of work to get us on board with that. West County Wastewater always celebrates Earth Month in March. We were out there at Alvarado Park in Richmond at our 3rd annual Earth Month cleanup. We saw more and more people every year, board members and also staff, and not just staff who are coming out to help, but staff that came out with their kids, other family members to actually clean up and do the work. It was great. On April 9th, Richmond's Salesian High School students were led on a tour by West County Wastewater operators and our maintenance staff right down at the plant. I want to give credit to the plant staff who ordered those beautiful new PPE, our protective equipment there. They got new hard hats and shiny new orange vests. It really makes the pictures look great. They enjoyed a classroom presentation with our environmental services team, especially Joe Neugebauer. He does a great job in the classroom and not only talks about the plant and what we do, but also talks about the wastewater industry as a career for these kids that are juniors, seniors in high school, how much it pays, what the education requirements are. He does a great job in the classroom with them as well. In the springtime, May 2025, West County Wastewater Board of Directors adopts an updated Public Records Act policy. Also that month, West County Wastewater, all of you, approved the CSO CCTV inspection van. So that's the second, if you remember, closed caption television van for CSO. You can see pictures there of them using the equipment, using the van. It's really important. They tell me they take that truck out every single day. West County Wastewater user fee study was completed. That happened in the spring as well. And West County Wastewater welcomed water for, I missed one of the words, I think, in this. Water Education for Latino Leaders. Their fellowship plant tour, we put that on in June. It was extra special to us because in the cohort, we had two of our very own directors, Cheryl Sudeth and also Director Annie King Meredith were there. That was a really fun day. And it went on, and it really gained some momentum. So West County Wastewater board members celebrated Juneteenth with staff in Richmond. We've done that every year over at Nichols Park. It's a festival for Juneteenth as well as a parade. It was a little extra special this year because Director Annie King Meredith, well, she was one of the grand marshals of the parade. And also Vice President Sudeth, we saw you up there on the stage all day long, working that event, having a good time, but working. Yep, and we saw Director Wiener there as well for the Juneteenth event. West County Wastewater Board proclaimed June is Pride Month, and so we did raise that rainbow flag at all of our locations. Also in June, at a regular board meeting, directors approved the capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2026. So lots more work to be done, thanks to all the work that you do on approving those plans. Also, the 2026-27 budget was approved by the board of directors. You can see that we put the Juneteenth flag up in June, as well as the Pride flag and some of the events that we've been at. I can see Director Alvarado eating his ice cream there. We seem to do a lot of events around ice cream. In September, this was new, CSO hosted a safety celebration. Now, CSO generally holds a safety celebration, but this year they invited all of us, all of staff and the board to come on out. They cooked up lunch and they gave some presentations around safety. Some of them gave presentations for I believe, the first time. They did a wonderful job. It marks the 5-year mark of no lost time from injuries and accidents. So that is what they're celebrating. That is very much worth a round of applause. And some of us feel like that is something to celebrate, and there's a few of us that are a little worried that we're jinxing it. But yes, that is a great, great thing to celebrate. The Clean and Green project that we know so well, some of the things that happened this past year, conducted 12 tours. We mentioned a couple of them, but 12 tours. They finalized the best design, and that is the battery energy storage system. That's right. Thank you, guys. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I meant to ask Keith today, but I think they're breaking ground on that. If not already, it's within this month of December. So that's a big deal. Also, as you go into the plant to the left-hand side, you're seeing all those new solar installations that have gone up. They're beautiful. The Clean and Green project started the commission period for multiple pieces of equipment. We're kind of still standing by, getting ready to the seeding process for the new digesters. We were down there today for our event and got a tour for anybody that wanted it, and there's just a lot happening every single day for the Clean and Green project. We're really proud of that. Security, we mentioned security earlier. Security upgrades were approved by all of you in July of 2025. Thank you for that. So now we can get into all of our buildings using our badge, which I love. And we have security cameras that are up that are watching us and watching over us. And also in the summertime, the North Richmond Jazz Festival was a hit. And that is Director Annie King Meredith. That is her. That's her jam. So she is out there. She is talking to the community members. I think she spent most of her day with us playing cornhole with the community. We had our interns out there. Folks from CSO got up early for that event and helped out that day. That was a great event. And also thanks to, what do I say? past president, immediately past, but right in front of me, President Ardo Rentila.
There he is,
He invites us every year to Carlos's Auto Wrecking. They have a wonderful car show that benefits, it's a fundraiser for Oakland Children's Hospital and autism awareness. Our general manager, Andrew Clow, has gone every year, and Ardo has too. So that's a great event that happens it happens the same day as the Jazz Festival. In September, West County Wastewater participated in the El Sobrante Stroll, as well as the El Sobrante Pride Festival. So this is the second year the city of El Sobrante has had a Pride Festival. It's in September. And this is the first year we've attended. And how we participated is thanks to Director Harry Weiner. He went out and he represented West County Wastewater at that event. We had some Pride logo bags made up for him, so he took those there. That was great. So thanks to Director Weiner for that. Also, the completion of the Lower San Pablo Sewer Replacement Project. That was completed. That was huge. Biosolids processing and operating agreement between West County Wastewater and the City of Richmond. Thanks to staff for completing that. Sorry.
I just said huge.
It's huge. I know. We go through these things so fast, but it's hard to fit all of our amazing work into just one little presentation. So North Richmond Living Levee Project, of course, we could talk about this so much, but the big highlights, West County Wastewater did enter into a contract for planning and design services for the North Richmond Living Levee to bring that project to 65% design. Draft CEQA documents for phase 1 were completed back in the spring. The geotechnical borings and data collection was completed in September and October of this year. And this is great. I love this part too. The Shoreline Community Working Groups reconvened and held 2 site tours and meetings in 2025. I got to put those photographs in the drop over the past few months, and you can see the pictures there. The Living Levee website rolled out in September, so I was super excited. You got to meet and hear presentations from 2 communications interns this year, and they helped with that, along with our consultants that, thanks to you, I have with Convey Inc. We put that website up. It's a web page on our website, so it's some place where you can send folks to just get more information about the Living Levee project. The Board of Directors also adopted the electronic vehicle charging policy. We invited the public to use this new charging station, so just another reminder, at the beginning of the year, it was a pilot program, and then it came to full fruition a little later in the year. In October, we had the exchange services agreement made for the leachate treatment and biosolids handling. I think that's another one that's huge. And Carriage Hills force main replacement was completed this year of 2025. So much. We had a new staff event. Staff and board members came in September for our old school classic car show and chili cook-off. Very special guests that day were our chili cook-off judges, who were President Ardo Rentila and Director Annie King Meredith. Thanks again for them coming out. We put them on the spot. They had to judge the chili. And we did. We had quite a few staff members bring some old cars. We had a lot of fun. It was our first time doing this event, and it was popular enough that I think I can say with certainty that we will do it again. Also, we had a special guest from Carlos's Auto Wrecking. We returned the favor of them asking us to their event, so we asked them to our old school event, and sure enough, he came out. In October, West County Wastewater had our past board president, Ardo Rentila, at the Hilltop Community Church trunk or treat. He goes out to that every year. It's a wonderful event and always sends some great pictures over. Also, the State of the San Francisco Estuary Tour happened in the fall, as well as West County Wastewater, for the first time that I know of, participated in the California Great Shakeout. That is a yearly event that happens on October 16th at 10:16 in the morning. And so we participated by using that as just an emergency drill. And since that time, it has really kicked off a surge of security and extra safety for us. We are planning on doing some more drills. If you want to know more about that, ask your general manager, because he's into it. He is really into it. He can answer all your questions. Landmark artificial intelligence policy was approved by all of you just last month. So in November, West County Wastewater's board approved an AI policy. It just seems crazy to me, but that's great. So there it is. There's your policy. It's been approved. Also, the board celebrated the accomplishments of all of our events and everything that we've done this year by today's holiday walkabout. So I think that's our third year doing the holiday walkabout. We had a great turnout. Thanks to Director Weiner for coming out. We had folks from HDR on site to give tours, along with our senior project manager, Keith Reynolds. Andre Wells was on hand helping out with that event. But I want to make it very clear for anyone who's listening, it was the plant staff that hosted that event. They took it over, they brought the food in, they made the classroom look like a winter wonderland. They had everything ready from the music to a slideshow, and it was just delightful. So it was a good one. Last slide, and then we'll get on out of here. But this is sort of a fun one, West County Wastewater 2025 by the numbers. So in 2025, CSO completed 31 home sewer repairs. That is up from 23 that they did in the previous year. Also, CSO had fewer spills, which we love, only 10 in 2025 compared to 15 the year before. Our maintenance division repaired or replaced 27 inoperable lights at the plant. So that's a lot of work to be done. The RISE committee, RISE committee does consist of 21 staff members on that committee. And when we have those biweekly meetings, they all show up and everybody's invested. It's really inspiring. They completed 8 training sessions throughout 2025 and assisted with hosting 2 West County Wastewater events. They're also working on a ride-along program and bringing back a shadow or a mentoring program for staff here at West County Wastewater. RISE did celebrate their 1-year anniversary in September. They were so busy that they forgot that their anniversary went by, so I told them I'd bring them up in this slide. In 2025 also, we welcomed 4 new hires and celebrated 8 promotions from our staff. I think that's just fantastic. West County Wastewater in all completed 709 trainings. Now that number comes from HR. I believe that number is probably greater if you figure the training that they do within their own working groups. We had 2 communications interns, 2 operators in training, and 1 maintenance in training who's still here. And then by November of 2025, just last month, well, the Drop podcast, our staff-only internal podcast, celebrated 1,000 downloads. And I think that's where we can end it. But yes, thanks to all of you. I hope that gives you a sense of all of the work that you've done when you come to these meetings at night and you give your time and you're out in the community and we see all the work that you do on the committees. Really appreciate it. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Will we be able to get a copy of this? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing.
Yeah, that'll be great.
sure.
Yeah, we'd love to have a copy of this. All right, sir, where are we?
We are moving to the final item on the agenda, and that is director's comments, meeting reports. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on this item?
We have not. If anyone wishes to comment on item 10, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you so much, directors. You know what to do. I'll give you the reminder. You will report on meetings or events that you've attended for which you are seeking reimbursement or compensation from the district and other matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the agency. We'd love to hear about your adorable family and all the other wonderful things you're doing. However, you can tell us about that after we go offline. This particular item is only for those events for which you're seeking compensation or reimbursement that has to do with district business. So with that, Director Weiner.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, sir.
Since our last meeting on November 19th, I met with the general manager, attended the El Sobrante Chamber of Commerce meeting. I am now the vice president of the El Sobrante Chamber.
Yay, congratulations.
Yeah. I attended 2 Richmond City Council meetings. At last night's meeting, they honored a retiring city employee, Mary Phelps, whose career was characterized by taking ever more responsibility for the operation of Richmond's wastewater system and coordination with many other city departments. I went to Palo Alto to see and learn about the construction of their pilot horizontal levee, along with Joe and Aaron. I attended the El Sobrante MAC and the West County Forum.
That it?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Madam King Meredith? Director King Meredith?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm looking at my notes. I had everything all laid out. Okay, here we go. So the meetings that I attend for the last time that we met, our board meeting, I got a chance to attend by Zoom, was two of the San Pablo city councils. But to say this, that our new elected mayor is our one and only Elizabeth Alvarado. Pablon Alvarado.
Yay.
Director Alvarado's
Wife.
spouse.
Yeah.
And it was
Yes.
congratulations for her. She's our mayor now for the San Pablo City Council.
For the second time.
The second time, yes. And on December the 2nd, the North Richmond MAC, a presentation, it was a very short meeting, but we only had one on the agenda. We were looking forward to have our wastewater district to do a presentation, but somehow they won't be able to do it until January. But we have one presentation and a lengthy conversation about the concerns of the 18-wheelers that comes through North Richmond at night on Market Street and early in the daytime. So we have highway patrolmen, we have Richmond PD and the sheriff in collaboration to be checking out these 18-wheelers that still comes through the residents, taking shortcuts, and that was with the MAC. On December the 4th, a presentation was with Arlington Church, preparing for the holiday food basket that will be taking place. Matter of fact, on the 20th of December, which is in a few days, that we will be actually having a distribution to 450 families there. And pictures was taken with our donations, with our donator, sponsor, Arlington Community Church, and they brought in a big check for us to be able to go out and buy gifts and buy food for the individuals that had signed up for the food baskets. On December the 4th, I was invited by our president, President Ratila, as an alternate to actually attend the mayor's conference. And it was more or less very brief. They went around introducing, thanking, acknowledging the previous chairs and mayors and bringing them in for the next following year. And they had a wonderful dinner and great conversation. On December the 8th was the Contra Costa, finally, the Contra Costa Resilient Shoreline Committee. After 4 months, they actually had a Zoom to do an update. It wasn't that much, but they still working on the project, on the process of actually getting in touch with the individuals that are up and down Contra Costa shoreline in the 90 miles. So they'll give us some more information later, okay? Youth Service Bureau, I attended that on this week, December the 9th, was the farewell brunch for the soon retired Richmond Chief of Police, Bisa French. She is also one of the board members. She is not leaving the board of the Youth Service Bureau, but just to acknowledge her works and her participation outside of her position as being chief. So that took place last Tuesday. And then the Financial and Administration Committee meeting that took place December the 11th. And one more. Oh, and the San Pablo City Council that took place Monday. Very concerning. Mobile home that is being, actually, rents are going up every month. It's really, the landlord is really pushing these individuals out. And the concern that the individuals, renters that are there at the mobile home has come to plead to the San Pablo City Council about the increases of the rents. Each month is going up $100, and they started, I think in October or November, increase of $100. The next month, another $100. And by January, in the last 3 months, they would have been charged $300 increase, just where they at the mobile home. So that's an ongoing. So they asked for, the city council to really take note of what's happening and all this gouging by this particular landowner that have, that they have their mobile homes there on that lot. So they actually voted for some type of moratorium to actually stop these increases, because it's ridiculous how they're actually gouging them. And last but not least, I have a couple of announcements that I would leave at the end of this meeting, Madam Chair,
Thank you.
President.
Yes, ma'am.
So that concludes for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, Director Rintila.
All right. Well, I want to thank President Sedith and Vice President Alvarado. Congratulate you both, and thank you both for helping me out this year. Without you guys, I don't know if I could have done it. And I want to thank staff, as well as our general manager and general counsel, and our clerk for everything that you guys have done. Thank you. That being said, I went to both of the city council meetings. Our Richmond attorney is retiring, leaving the city of Richmond, so they're going to be looking for a new law firm. There was also a celebration for our chief, who happens to be a good friend of mine, Chief Bisa French, and it was really sad to see her go because she's pretty much an icon in the city of Richmond. So we were at the RNCC holiday party. We celebrated her and Lieutenant Decius, who's also retiring. I think she had 24 years and he had 28 years, or vice versa.
28.
Yeah.
She had 28.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah, we're going to miss her dearly. She's going to the Family Justice Center. So that's in Richmond for all of you that are interested in seeing her again. We also had the IOE committee. We had staff reports, and we talked about the new technology for nanoplastics and security fencing, electrification, which is exciting. And then at the mayor's conference, I was joined there by Director Annie King Meredith, and they were doing a lot of reorganizing. Each city is, having a new mayor come in. So that was exciting. And then Pittsburgh has a new city manager, a new director of finance. Martinez is reorganizing. Everybody's doing their holiday tree lighting. I'm happy to say that we've got some holiday lights up. Looks good. And that should be the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, immediate past president. And I just want to say you did fine. You barely needed me or Vice President Alvarado. You were flying with full-grown wings. All right, let me see where this goes. I attended a whole lot of meetings. Is that sufficient?
You forgot me.
No, I know. Vice President Alvarado, I'm going to,
Not that my report's gonna be long at all.
yes, sir.
Since the last board meeting on November 19th, I attended the San Pablo Council meeting via Zoom on December 1st, because I was at the Aqua Fall Conference.
Yes.
The San Pablo Council meeting, the highlight of the meeting was my wife getting sworn in for the second time as mayor, Elizabeth Pabon Alvarado. Congratulations again. I had a full report on the Aqua Fall Conference, but I don't know what I did with it because I can't find it in my thing, but I will submit a written report to the board clerk so she can include it in the minutes. On December 9th, I attended the IOE committee meeting, and on December 11th, a plant tour here with Senator Aragon's staff, and I believe John Joya's staff was here also. Had to leave a little early, but that was very nice as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to skip around because I also got to watch now Mayor Elizabeth Pabon Alvarado become mayor again for San Paulo City Council, as well as last evening, Gabe Quinto become the mayor of El Cerrito again. I attended the AMION, the Association of Muslims in Public Service. I attended Tech Week on 11/20, Women in Leadership 11/23, a podcast called Unstoppable 11/24. I was the guest speaker on that one. International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women on 11/25. 4 Board of Supervisors meetings. 350 Bay Area Monthly Climate Monthly Committee meeting for climate. San Francisco Department of Status of Women on 11/26. 11:30 through 12:05, along with the Vice President Alvarado, the Aqua Fall Conference. The Bay Area Biosolids meeting on 12/1. The Oakland City Council meeting, where the biggest highlight was they approved use of cameras. I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna say anything else about it. And then an event for National Disability Day on 12/3. We also had an event during the conference, during the Aqua Conference for Willows, a breakfast. Several meetings with our outside counsel, and a environmental summit on 12/5 and 12/6 in Sacramento, Davis area. Going back, San Francisco Fire had a PFAS meeting where they passed the first ordinance in the area to stop using any materials with PFAS for firefighters. First one in the area. 3 Richmond City Council meetings, the El Sobrani MAC meeting with Director Wiener. He was there in person, I was online, where they talked about these tiny homes that they've been building. And in that discussion, Director Wiener, I was waiting for you to bring it up.
Oh, I talked directly to the guy?
Yeah, you talked directly to him about the wastewater, because they asked you about the wastewater.
Yeah, no, it was funny. And-
Yeah.
But I also gave him the phone number to call.
You did. You want to tell them what happened?
Oh, sure.
So go ahead, tell them what
Yeah,
happened.
so this guy had been, he has a 2-acre piece of property, and his idea is to move little houses on wheels, tiny houses on wheels. And he plumbed it and came to the board and got a pipes program discount, et cetera, but only to run a line out to his barn. And then subsequently, he started allowing very specific people to buy and move their tiny homes onto his property. His idea was to help people get these tiny homes and then build savings so they could buy their own homes. And they were students and nurses and people who needed housing but had good enough jobs to put savings aside and buy these tiny homes. But he hadn't got a permit for the plumbing to the tiny homes. And so he did plumb them, but he didn't get a permit. So I gave him our phone number and suggested that he look into getting permitted, because I, of course, would tell us about it.
Yes.
And so I think we'll be hearing from him. But it was a pretty cool idea, and the tiny houses were pretty amazing.
They were. So I asked Director Winter to tell you, so just in case you get a bunch of phone calls about tiny houses on wheels and the lack of plumbing and sewer systems, you know that you came from that meeting a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, so Bill is his sewer guy, so
Yeah.
Bill knows.
So these where they came from. Thank you, Director Wiener. And a couple of more things. So I went to a couple of women in leadership brunch. We had 3 of them. They're usually on Sunday. And very fitting, on 12/9 was International Anti-Corruption Day. So I went to a training on being anti-corrupt.
I'm having a hard time.
I don't want to be corrupt, so, it was fitting to go on that day. I went to board supervisors meeting. I went to Ability Hacks meetings for people with disabilities in celebration of Disability Awareness, International Human Rights Day meeting on that, the Finance and Administration meeting, the Contra Costa Hazmat meeting. I did go to the shoreline resilience meeting, the Sierra Club Water meeting, Civic Coalition Committee meeting, and AI training. I completed my Essex training again. I know I've done it probably 3 times, but I did it again anyway. 'Cause I keep feeling like I do it every conference, but somehow I did it again. I figure I'm over ethical at this point, but I went to the equity meeting, another discussion on National Bill of Rights Day, which was 12/15 for those of you who don't know. The PFAS forum that BACWA held on 11/18 or 19, and then we had a BACWA Air Committee meeting on 11/19. On 12/1, we had another a special meeting, Bay Area Biosolids Coalition meeting, and then our Bay Area Pollution Prevention Group meeting on 12/3, and our executive board meeting for on 12/12 for BACWA. I think that was all, as if that wasn't enough, but I think that was it. I believe, the city of Richmond, I think the attorney resigned, not retired. He resigned, and yes, so his firm is going to be, it's getting a new contract for like $100,000 for next year for special projects. It's a 3rd attorney in the last, he's lasted the longest over the last 3 years. So we'll see how that works. And are there any announcements before I turn this over to the board clerk? I know Director King Meredith, you had an announcement, and did you also have an announcement, sir? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. The couple announcements that I have will take place tomorrow, December the 18th. This will be with Santa and Miss Claus, and they will be at Steve's Steve's School for the children, and to give out over 250 stockings to the children there. So the festivities will start at 10 o'clock, 10 to 1. That we will be seeing the children, and as they wait, they will be having chocolate, and the teachers will be having a tea, although they can have chocolate too, but just a little something as they wait in line to speak to Santa and Miss Claus. So that will be taking place, and also President Sutter will be there. She is one of the elks that will be giving out the stockings with her hat and whatever get-up that she will be having.
I'm not tall enough to be Miss Claus, apparently.
To be there at at Steve's and to see the children. And also December the 20th and the 21st, President Sutter will be with me at the Coring Same Center, Family Community Center in North Richmond, to actually be at the table to welcome the distribution for the food baskets that will be given out for the next 2 days, which we're looking at 450 plus food baskets that will be given out. We will be starting at 9 a.m. to 1 on the next couple of days, and that's the 20th and the 21st. That's Saturday and Sunday. And that concludes my 2 announcements.
Thank you. And anybody can come up there and hand out some of these 450 food baskets. And what she failed to mention is, yeah, I'm not tall enough to be Mrs. Claus, so I have to be an elf. But she is Annie Claus. She didn't say that part.
No.
She's gonna be Annie Claus.
Okay.
So you guys are welcome to come or bring
Yes.
someone to share in the spirit with these children. To
Annie?
pardon me? Yes, he's tall, so he's been the Claus for a long time. And with that, I would like the board clerk, I will ask her, would you please do us the honor and giving us what's next? What's coming up?
So as of now, there is a January 8th, 2026 FNA Administration Committee meeting. And there's also scheduled a January 13th Infrastructure Operations and Environment Committee meeting. And the next regular board, well, it won't be regular, it will be a special board meeting on January 21st, 2026.
Okay.
Nothing further.
Thank you so much. And with that, it is 8:51. I implore you all to have a safe and wonderful celebratory time off. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, happy shopping, whatever it is that you so love to do. We are adjourned. Gracias. Oh. Page 1 is okay, nobody leave. Everyone, you want to down there? Okay, we can go.
Yeah. Right, that's from last year. Last year.
She wants us out there.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Give us 1 second, we're gonna go outside. Okay, let's put the
Been a day. Hey, Aaron.
Little cold for us.
Your plan is slick. I was on the housekeeping and, that thing. Yeah, well, according to your project manager,